Hello, good morning everybody, and welcome to day one of CSW Group's Future Proofing Your Career series of webinars. So this is a new venture for us. It's a series of 5 webinars which we're going to be delivering every day this week at 10 o'clock, covering lots of different aspects of career development and aspects of employability too. So today, our first webinar will be delivered by our career development consultant, Mike Shail. And Mike will be delivering a presentation entitled Know Your Strengths, Boosting Your Employability While Still at School. Now, all of you will notice that you have a Q&A option, and we welcome any questions you might pose to us throughout the session. We will collate them and we'll deal with as many as we can at the end. So without further ado, I will hand over to Mike.
Okay, thank you, Ollie. Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As it says, here we are, it's day one, Know Your Strengths, Boosting Your Employability Whilst Still at School, and I'm your presenter. I always think it's worth having a pause point to just stop and think, especially in this strange situation we're in, about how we're feeling. A bit happy, a bit uncertain. I'm aware that some people may be not in school, even though we could be in school, and it's just about accepting that and seeing what we can do for the future. For example, I don't know where you're going to have your lunch today, but if you're in school, it's probably not perched on the edge out there, is it? Okay, so how are you feeling? Accept that. It's okay. We can move on from there and see what the future has for us all. So here we go. What do we mean by employability? A bit of a simple definition at the bottom there. Employability, the likelihood of you securing paid work. So the idea is, it may not necessarily be with a job with an employer. It could be self-employed. It's the idea of getting paid to be doing something. Okay, so how likely is it that you're going to get that opportunity? Some of the questions you may be thinking about for this is, well, who does get employed? When's it going to be your turn? Other people getting stuff, why not you? And also, what can you do to increase your chances? So a bit of a thinking point coming up here. It's not just about ourselves, it's actually the employer's viewpoint, the people that are going to give us the money to do this job. Bit of a stop point. I know some of you can type in on the screen here. So just have a think about what are the most desirable skills or qualities employers look for. Just a few moments to stop and think about that. What is it they want? Well, here we go. A couple of ideas about what's wanted from this Future of Jobs report from the World Economic Forum. The big reveal. And I make no apologies for sort of some of the complicated language that's showing on this screen here. We might be thinking simple ideas, but actually the truth is, the future of the world wants these more blended approaches, these more active ideas. So I've simplified it on the next bit to show these growing ideas, highlighted some of the words there for you. It's got what's got active, design and programming, critical, reasoning, as I say, blended, sort of very active sort of ideas. And these are the growing skills. These are the things that the world's saying we wanted. And it's actually also a point to be thinking, wherever you're based at the moment, be that in, well, for example, I was in Devon maybe, or the Southwest, or, which is part of the UK, part of Europe, actually part of the world. This is world skills. The world is huge opportunities for everyone. And these are the skills that the World Economic Forum is saying are needed for the future so that we can be successful with our employability and our jobs and our future. Worth bearing in mind, well, actually, which ones aren't needed quite so much. And before we show these, be alert, although they're declining, these aren't saying these skills aren't needed, just they're not needed as much. So if you can see there, we've got some reading, writing, maths. Clearly we're going to need that. They're just saying not so much. We've got other technological advances that can maybe help with some of that, but we still need that. The idea of visual, auditory, speech abilities, clearly needed, but as we saw in the other slides, it's actually more complicated uses of those is what's needed in the future. So just to highlight again, those growing ideas, here we go. And we've got things there, I don't know, emotional intelligence. Now that's reacting to human beings. So it's not just watching them, it's actually taking that further step. So all these slides are going to be available, as Ollie says, after the end of the week. So you'll be able to see these things again and access these ideas. Couple of thoughts then, job changes, couple of facts that may not surprise you, but actually are truths and we may not think about too much. People change their jobs over their lifetime. Yep, they do. People gain promotions and face redundancy. It happens, and you may well be part of a household where this sort of things happen with the current economic situation developed by COVID. COVID isn't the only thing that happens in the world. Other crises have happened. You get financial shocks, you get technological changes and things that actually remove jobs. So yeah, change happens. It does happen, it will happen. There's research on how many changes people have in their jobs. 3 changes in a lifetime, 7, 15, whatever. Certainly more than once. And the 2 phrases I got down the bottom there, portfolio careers and multi-strand business. Portfolio careers is the idea of maybe working for more than one employer, so that actually you're getting income from other places. Multi-strand business is the concept of somebody who's, say, self-employed, getting money from different people for doing different things. So again, it's variety, it's change. I mean, have a thought about this. If you've got a sandwich artist job, do you want to stay as a sandwich artist job forever? Well, it might be all well and good at the moment. You've got some money coming in, or your mate's got this job maybe, and money's coming in. But where could you go with it? You could maybe be the manager. You could be the regional manager. There's opportunities. There's change, definitely change. And we need to be alert to that if we're going to get somewhere with our employability and futures. And just that highlight at the bottom there, for some people, this is going to be exciting and interesting and, really something to get happy about. Or it could be a concern or worry for people. And that's okay. Just be alert to that. The fact that we know these changes are going to happen will hopefully mean we can do something about any worry you may have. Certainly about a bit of research and planning ahead. Okay. Now, this quote here, I will confess, is probably one of my favoritist quotes to do with employability and careers. To be employed is to be at risk. To be employable is to be secure. And what this person is, Dr. Peter Hawkins, you find out about him, is talking about, it's all well and good you got a job and you're getting paid money, but what happens if that job doesn't happen anymore? What happens if change does happen? How are you going to carry on? So, consider chameleon. Now, chameleons there just doing whatever chameleon does. But if chameleon is keen to get into the world of work, then guess what? Chameleon's going to have to change. Gotcha. Chameleon changes. Off they go. Which is, again, as Dr. Peter Hawkins says, brilliant, helpful. Money coming in, fantastic. But the future means you may well have to adapt to things. And sometimes we need to adapt and change, sometimes to fit in, to blend in, sometimes to stick out so that people recognize us. Okay, so it's that whole concept of change. Our strapline there, lifelong learning new stuff, but work-long adaptability. Your work in life, you're going to have to adapt to change and opportunity. A bit like a chameleon. Okay, all well and good. But if you're year 10, how does it relate to you? And I appreciate there's some year 9s out there as well. It's never too early to be developing skills or recognizing skills and doing things that will help us in the future. So a couple of questions. How do we develop employability at school? And what can we do in school that helps us become employable? And the other thing there, what else can we do? There's plenty of things, absolutely plenty. So there's things that we do. Transferable skills are those things that we do in one environment that we can do well in another. So that's maybe the idea of, understanding how figures are working in, maths will actually help us in geography or physics plans later on, but will also help us in the world of work. What else can we do extracurricular? Now, as well as what we need to do, because that's what, the school has offered us as learning, there's other opportunities beyond that. Yeah. So extracurricular, some people get involved with, I don't know, cadets, or they get involved with sports teams, or they get involved with, I don't know, caring for a family member. You know, there's other things that happen in our lives we can get involved with that aren't just school day stuff, yeah, over and above. And it's about doing those things to develop further skills that we can use in other environments. Here we go. You thought you might have escaped maths. This is a fairly little bit of maths, but this is a little bit. Employability equals Q plus E plus M. I'm trying you to stretch and wake up your brains a bit here, so you can be thinking about what the heck are those Q, E and M. If I've done this right, there should be enough dashes there for the amount of letters that are missing. So I know, as I said, some of you got ability to tap in. If you want to tap in what you think some of those answers be. Employability is Q. Some begin with Q, some begin with E, some beginning with M. If your brain really isn't working, obviously you can stare at the pretty cat for a minute. Okay. Q, what do you reckon? Not a surprise, it's in there anyway. Qualifications. So employability is definitely linked to qualifications, but it's more than that. So what's the E? E, experience. So this idea of what we've done as well. You know, those are the things that help us in the future. The M, what could the M be in this simplified idea of employability? Motivation. And that's the oomph factor. That's that desire to get things going. I'm quite keen to highlight that if you've got no motivation, then you can have the best qualifications, the best experience in the world. But if you don't want to do anything with it, I assure you not very much is going to happen with it either. So you need that desire, you need that motivation to get things going. And it's this combination which is helps going to give you the money, the future, the employability opportunities that you want and you need. So there we are. That's that link together. Those together, that's what you're offering the world for futures, basically, for your employability. Something to be aware of is experiences that we get may not come in the package we expect. Certainly worth stopping and thinking about things we've done, things we want to do, so we can gain these sort of experiences. And motivation, if we stop and think about why we do things, what gets us going, what's really interesting to us, that motivation is helpful. And as I say, it's that combination that makes you you. Embrace the fact you're unique. It's brilliant because other people come in different packages, different shapes, often different things to employers and for the world of work. And that's okay. It's okay that we're different because the world, as I said, is a massive place full of opportunities and different things will be needed. Okay, so skills and personal qualities. We were talking about this a little bit. So it's the idea here about personal qualities is that's us as a unique individual. What qualities have we got? And I've listed a couple there, some things that people have or may be, you know, with the talkative or sociable, you know, trusting people. And these personal qualities can show themselves in skills that we're more keen to develop or able to develop. So for example, someone who's got sociable skills might be decent at organising things because they like talking to people and getting things done. Yeah, someone who's talkative, maybe public speaking could be a thing. So they've got opportunity to get those words out. So it's just ideas that who you are can be developed into skills, and skills are great because that's what employers like. That's what help you with jobs as well. So here we go. Transferable skills. Transferable skills, as I said, is the idea of getting you from one place or using the skills in one place into another. And at the moment, if you're in a school environment, we're trying to find out, well, how is this relevant for me to get from school space into the world of work? Okay. If we could just have an example, again, if you could type in, if you've got some ideas about roles that exist in a school environment. Things I'm thinking of here are, I don't know, maybe in the library, people offer help there, or sometimes, head of year asks for a group of students to come and help with stuff, or parents' evening events where they want students. If you just tap in any ideas you've got of roles that exist in the school that you can get involved with, yeah? These are those opportunities. These are the things that can help develop your skills. So if we start thinking about those, and I'll see where we got to. Thank you for the people tapping in there, that's great. Okay. Yep. So yes, we've got a couple there. So a role we could have, we've got a role there, and that's this. A role could be a year 7 mentor. Thank you. So that's an opportunity in a school. So if we stop and think about a year 7 mentor, well, what tasks are there? And one of the tasks, strange enough, showing a year 7 around the school. So this is something that needs to be done. This is, an objective, something that has to happen. Another task, answering questions from year 7s. So this is them year 7s asking questions to you, yeah? And you're going to have to come out with answers to them. So if we think about this role as a mentor, these are just 2 examples of tasks that need doing in this role. We break down the task of showing year 7s around the school. One of the skills you're going to develop as a result of that is teamworking. Unless you're super efficient, I strongly suggest there'll be other people doing something very similar to that at the same time. If you've got a year 7 open day or whatever, you're showing new students around. Then you'll be working with the teacher that's leading it maybe, or other students, as I say, or maybe the sixth form. So there's teams of you working, and you'll be developing those skills. Another skill is planning. So again, a dynamic thing, and it could be, for planning, hopefully, you scored the environment fairly well, and you're showing people, you're showing off, this is where this happens, this is what's going on. And you might have to adapt depending on what gets asked of you. So you might, someone's keen on geography or something, might do a little detour showing where the geography goes on. Yeah. So it's planning, developing those skills. Other ideas, answering questions from year 7s, understanding concerns. This again ties into that emotional intelligence, for example, that was highlighted earlier. Someone's asking me questions, why are they asking that? How can I help them? Other skill, explaining information, is going to come from showing year 7s around. Yeah, they're going to ask you stuff, you're going to have to explain it. So as you can see there, from something as simple like a year 7 mentor, you can develop and show and demonstrate skills that employers value. So where are we then? So how is this relevant? Skills can be developed in many situations. Yeah, in school, out of school, there's lots of places. Skills are in demand by employers and will help you get work. Absolutely. Employers want you to show, like I said, that motivation, that oomph, and if you've got skills as well, you're going to go a bit further than ever. Take time to think about the skills you have, you might need, and you want to have. What this means is you're going to have to do some research about who are you, what's needed, how can you get those? And that is going to help with your future. And that future is this, how to use this when applying for work. This site here is the National Apprenticeship Service site, which I absolutely strongly recommend you explore. Certainly year 10s, you can register on this, you can see what vacancies may be available. And it's free to use. There are fewer vacancies, admittedly, at the moment than they're normally on there because of COVID, and employers are there adapting their offers and what they can take on. So it's something to explore. But if you're looking for an apprenticeship next year, which is, where you'll be year 10, this time next year, it's your term, then this is going to be a brilliant starting point to do that research and look for vacancies. And guess what? When you register on here, there's questions from within the sections about you. And the questions it asks there are, what are your main strengths? And it's asking for examples of these things, these skills that you've got. And these boxes of information is what employers will see. So it's worth having something to put in there so they can go, oh yeah, that looks like someone we'll give a chance to, give an interview to. Yeah. The other box down there, what skills would you like to improve? Again, it's making us think about, well, where am I? What do I want to do? Why is that appealing to me? So that's this site, as I say, the apprenticeships site. Other example application questions. Did a bit of research on some applications and what employers are asking. This one. Explain what you did during a time when you needed to get information from someone who wasn't very responsive. There's a question. Well, what you could do with this is, for example, if you've done the Year 7 mentor thing, you go, oh yeah, well, there's a situation where I was actually volunteered to be Year 7 mentor, and I was taking some Year 7s around, and they weren't very talkative to me, you know. So I started sharing bits about myself, about the school, and they opened up. Yeah, you could use those examples that say that Year 7 mentor stuff to help answer this sort of question. Another sort of question. Tell us about a time when you made sure customers pleased with your service. Well, again, you could go, well, I know, Year 7 mentor stuff. I remember there's parents with us, and they come back and they were really happy with what I did and how I explained things, because, you know, their son or daughter was asking a question, and I answered them directly and helped them out. Yeah, so it's again using those examples, those experiences we've had to move us along, to give us a chance of getting that job. What's this one? Give an example of a successful presentation you gave and why you think it was a hit. This, you know, you could use something like, I know, when I did that geography presentation, I remember that. That was a really good one, because, you know, my mates talked to me afterwards and actually said, well done. And the teacher really, you know, gave me a praise point or whatever it was. So you've got demonstrations of did it, and I got feedback that said, yeah, it was a hit. So it's transferable skills. Describe a time when you saw a problem and took the initiative to correct it rather than waiting for someone else to do it. Employers love these sort of things, you know. Do you get involved? Are you a go-getter? Will you actually do something to help? Examples here could be, I don't know, if you happen to going past reception in your school or something, and you see a parent hanging around and there's no one else on reception, you actually stepped in and offered help. Yeah, that could be a really good example of taking initiative to help people and not just waiting, not ignoring it. And each of these examples here, they cover sort of different skill areas. So that top one, teamwork skills, yeah, getting information to someone. Made sure customers pleased with your service, customer focus skills. Presentation, yeah, clearly communication skills, he says struggling. And yeah, describe a time when you saw some problem to initiative, motivation skills. That desire, that oomph again, yeah? Here we go. This is the biggie. Why should we employ you? This is the critical question that employers are going to be asking themselves. Why should we employ you? And again, it ties in with self-employment, with a contractor. Why should we give you our money to do that? Yeah, employers will then want to know why you want the job. Why are you the person for the job? Why should they choose you over all the other people that applied? And you've got to have that understanding of yourself to have a better way of answering it. If you know who you are, what you can offer, how it ties into who the job is, the employers are, then that is going to put you much further down the field of getting that offer at the end of the day. Okay, so a few resources here for us to think about. I know some of the schools that logged in, you use Career Pilot there, so put that there. Worth thinking about this. If it's your future, if it's going to impact on you, don't just do the research when you're told to. Do it because you want a good future. You want to have those opportunities. So you know these resources exist. Get on there and use them, I suggest. What else we got? doit.org, that's like a volunteer site, ways of getting other skills, you know, extracurricular over and above, and your National Career Service as well. Again, another way of researching ideas and opportunities for your future. Final one, can't go without pushing our own CSWs, obviously. and you're welcome to go there. We've got a web chat facility on there, information to help people, particularly geared to the peninsula, Devon, Torbay, Cornwall, Plymouth. Okay, so that's all the information there for you all. I hope you've picked up some ideas that's going to help you, and thank you very much for logging in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mike. That was a brilliant presentation. Lots and lots of useful information there. So we will have one or two moments for questions now. So I sort of saw somebody there was putting their hand up. So if you could type any questions you might have into the box as you have done so already. We'll give a couple of minutes and we'll have a little bit of time at the end for that. Okay, I can see Jasmine's raising her hand. Jasmine, if you've got a question, you've got a Q&A box there. Just type it in and we will deal with that for you in just a moment. While we're waiting, one issue that I'm quite conscious about, Mike, is what we're all conscious about at the moment, which is the impact of COVID-19, because we know that a lot of people of all sorts of ages are struggling with their work situation at the moment. Some people have sadly lost their work. For a student who might be coming to the point of leaving full-time education at the end of year 11 and maybe was thinking about maybe apprenticeships, for example, rather than staying in work, what are the things for them to think about given the kind of job market we're seeing at the moment, do you think?
Yeah, thanks, Ollie. Yeah, certainly the idea is always to have a plan B, a backup plan. The idea that you've got to have ambition and aim, but if it ain't working or it doesn't look like it working, you've got to have something else you could go to. I'm always keen for people to have the idea it's worth having a range of things to be able to say no to than just hoping that one thing works out. So variety, explore other ideas, research, which might involve maybe staying on to further education, maybe for another year, which I know some schools are offering.
Thank you very much. I think that's a really good point, and it's a good one to keep later in life too. I think it's really good to have a main plan, a kind of a first goal of yours, but if you know, it's good to have a backup plan to fall on just in case, especially in times like this. Okay, so Tilly Thompson has a question for us. She says, how can year 10s going into year 11 get work experience during COVID, as our work experience this academic year has been cancelled? That's a really good one, Tilly. Thank you.
Yeah, no, they're very good, Tilly. I mean, the whole idea is actually think about, you know, what is work experience? Sometimes people kind of think work experience has got to be just the 5 days that the schools offer you. But what I'm trying to highlight here is that you can get skills, develop skills. You can develop technical skills, can't even say it now, but, you know, IT skills that are going to be helpful in the world of work through work, you know, being remote. So it's actually thinking beyond the classic physically going to somewhere. It's actually, well, what skills can I develop? Communication skills, like I said, can be developed. There's an awful lot of stuff. But even doing the research about what I need to do is going to help as well. So there's an awful lot of things you can be doing. Redefine what work experience is. It's experience of work. So experience of work-like things. So find out what sort of role you're interested in, see what skills it breaks down to, see how you can develop those in the environment you're in.
So it's really thinking a bit more creatively about, as you said in the presentation, so employers want to see, the reason why they value the work experience is the skills you develop in the work experience. So if we temporarily have a situation where we cannot access work experience in the same way, it's being aware that in other ways we can develop very, very similar transferable skills. And I suppose I'd add, we all hope and expect the COVID situation to evolve and hopefully not be restricting us in the way that it is at the moment. Great. So I'm just checking the other questions. Jack Twos is asking what a sandwich artist is. A sandwich artist it's a name for a person who makes sandwiches in shops like Subway. And I think what the point Mike was making was that that's a perfectly valid choice of work, but if one chose to, we can progress from there, possibly seek, I don't know, promotion, greater responsibility, or indeed, on the subject of transferable skills, take the skills learned in that situation and take them elsewhere. Okay, we've got another one here from Eleanor Hunt, and I'm just checking the time. I think we might have to make this the last one. Eleanor's asking, will we have to do another work experience late in college if we go to that? So I think Eleanor's saying if we go to college, will we sort of have to do work experience while we're at college?
Well, I think it's about, you know, talking to the college, see what's there. I mean, I'd also consider that point, if the opportunity is there and you to develop new skills and new things. I'm all for the idea of gaining those skills. If the opportunity is there, I would grab it with both hands. Whether you have to do it, you know, again, talk to the college, see what they want. But whether it's going to help you, that's the question you need to ask yourself.
I think, Eleanor, it's a very, very useful thing. And remember that work experience can be organised by your school or college, or it can be something you organise for yourself. Lots of young people do organise sort of work tasters for themselves. They may approach a particular employer off their own initiative with a well-crafted CV. And that's the thing you can do. But then again, for some courses, you need to do work experience. That's true of some BTECs, and it's also very, very true of the new T-level courses, which you may have read about too. Great. So thank you, everybody, for your time and for your questions. We're taking questions throughout the week. If you would like to pose any questions for our career development consultants, the email address to use is careerquestion@cswgroup.co.uk. We will save any questions we don't manage to answer from Monday to Thursday, and those we dealt with in our Friday Q&A panel. So I'd like to thank you all for attending, and thank you, Mike, for your presentation.
Thank you.
This will be recorded and made available on our YouTube channel at a later date. So if you enjoyed what you heard today and found benefit from it, please tell your friends, please tell your teachers, and they will be able to watch back in their own time. So thank you very much, and I will say goodbye for now.